Barry Murphy is joining us here in the studio. Last time we were talking about taxis, but you obviously have two pressure groups going here, but gas is what we're doing today. Now, some months have gone by since we've talked to you. The Chief Minister's report is due pretty soon. Have you heard anything more about when exactly, as we go to air with this?
I've kind of read like little inklings to tell me that the report is due to go to the Chief Minister soon.
Yeah, I keep hearing that.
But little inklings is all I hear. I'm not hearing enough of definite information. So from my perspective, nothing really is happening. Not enough is happening.
Okay, well, you're running this pressure group. I mean, you've been very vocal. You've kept the pressure up, sort of thing. But where are you up to yourself then?
Right. So there's me as a gas customer, and there's me as the administrator of a Facebook group.
Yeah.
As a gas customer, my situation hasn't changed. As far as I'm concerned, I'm now been in an agreement for 4 years, which I never agreed to. It was an agreement made apparently by Manx Gas and the Office of Fair Trading. They came to a conclusion. What was happening was fair.
This is tariff changes.
This is the standing charges. Yeah. Okay, so 4 years ago, I found myself in a situation where my standing charge rose from 16 pence a day to just under £1 a day. In actual fact, one point it was just over £1 a day, and I got reduced, came down one band. So that's me as a customer. Barry Murphy as a customer is quite angry that for 4 years I've been paying every day 80p on average more than I should be.
But did the overall, I mean, that's what it's always sold, that it was going to be sort of bit of this and bit of that sort of thing. Overall, are you paying more?
No question of whether I'm paying more. I mean, overall, Manx Gas are paying less because, of course, they're buying gas wholesale from I believe, from the government or wherever the government are buying it from. So wholesale prices are lower.
Right. Retail
prices are lower. In 2015, when Manx Gas hiked up the standing charge and lowered the unit price of gas, wholesale prices had crashed. So Manx Gas were buying gas cheaper. I was buying gas cheaper, but I wasn't because I was having to pay the difference with my standing charge. So I never seen any benefit.
But they can only make 9.99%, whatever it is, profit each year. So what's happening? I mean, they're just moving things around. I mean, go on.
I've never, Paul, got involved in what Manx Gas do with their money. As far as I'm concerned, that's up to the Office of Fair Trading to deal with. All I know is that every day I'm paying close on £1 for a standing charge. Whether I turn on my hot tap or not, it's costing me £1 a day. Some people are paying just under £2.50 a day, and the very, very wealthiest in the Isle of Man, people on Band I, are paying 16.6 pence a day, which is exactly the same as the people on Band A, who are the people who have the smallest properties on the island. So the very least users and the very highest users are paying the same, and everyone else in between is on a standing charge step up. And all I'm saying is that I never agreed to that. So that's what I'm saying.
And the second part, it's monopoly, isn't it? Though?
Well, the second part, because we didn't answer the second part of the question. The second part is the administrator of a group, because you said, where does Barry Murphy stand with this? So we still have between 1,500 and 1,600 members, and it has to be said that over time, instead of the people in the group losing interest, there's actually more interest than ever before.
It has been interesting, the way you've handled this.
Because there's more and more people starting to make an input now, because more and more people are actually seeing that this thing is actually dragging on now. So what I decided we've done a little kind of a little poll on the group, and what we've decided is that if we don't hear something by the end of January 2019, bearing in mind Christmas is only a few weeks, so we're going to get Christmas out of the way. And if nothing happens by the end of January 2019, we are going to have to start protesting again.
Ah, right. That's what I was coming to, because you were doing quite a lot of protesting. It's all gone a bit quiet recently. Is that because?
Well, because I feel, in actual fact, that I've been led up the garden path a little bit, because we were led to believe, or I was led to believe, that the committee were going to take great steps into investigating gas provision on the Isle of Man. Okay, so maybe they have, maybe they haven't. All I can say is I put a lot of effort into this. Okay, a lot of effort. There was not just me. It was actually we had input from close on 100 people, 100 and something people in the group. That decided that the committee had the gas consumers' interest at heart, there was a lot of input, and I wrote a letter to the committee, 2 letters in fact, with the input from the people in the group. So we would have expected, out of courtesy, some feedback or some progress on what's happening. We've had nothing. And the last little bit of information I read is that the Chief Minister hasn't even had the report back yet. So what I'd like to know is, what are the committee doing? Why is it taking so long? I mean, it's a working class issue.
Okay, this is Chris Thomas's committee, right?
Yes.
Well, he's due to speak to us this week, hopefully. Manx Gas are hopefully speaking to us later this week, although they won't go into details about the committee, but they're having this interaction between customers and themselves.
Good.
They also went on the proactive Facebook sort of thing. Are you still communicating with them at all directly, Manx Gas, or was it?
The last conversation I had with Manx Gas was simply to tell them that, as far as I'm concerned, I never agreed to these standing charges, and I'm looking into the legal side of it to actually make a small claim against Manx Gas to get my money back that I've been overcharged for 4 years, because I've never agreed to any of this. That's the last dealings I've had with Manx Gas. And what Manx Gas are doing with regard to standing charge, I'm not entirely sure. But what I do know is they're having little working groups and little action groups and stuff like that. But they don't talk about banning standing charges very much, if at all. And it's as far as I'm concerned, been involved in this for 3 years from the consumer's point of view. The biggest issue is banning standing charges. The average customer of Manx Gas, domestic, does not care about how Manx Gas runs its business on a daily basis. That's up to Manx Gas to sort out. But what we care about as consumers is how much we pay per day standing charge.
Just remind me, didn't they say though, and I'm not trying to stand up for Manx Gas, but it evened out your bills over the years because you're paying this standing charge which is all year round, and therefore the price of the gas came down, so it wasn't this massive spike in the middle of winter. I mean, and again, probably paying roughly the same as before, it's just the way it's calculated. That's your issue?
Well, if you're on Band A, you're paying the same as before, and if you're on Band I, you're paying the same as before. And if you're on Band Band B, I guess there's probably very little difference. But the higher the band you go, definitely there's a massive difference. I mean, we've got people on the group, for instance, that might be off Ireland 3 or 4 months a year, and they're having to pay a massive standing charge for absolutely nothing when they return. People are forced to pay the standing charge whether or not they want to pay it, and a lot of this is actually going back over history. But don't forget this: the people on benefits, on heating benefits. There's people out there that are being paid a heating benefit to keep warm in the winter. The standing charge eats the heating benefit ever before the customer gets to turn on the gas.
What do you think possibly could this report come up with that's going to make you happy and resolve things? Because they are, in their agreement, they're allowed to make 9.99% or whatever, 9-point-something% profit each year, and they're presumably going to obviously keep looking to make that sort of profit. I mean, they're entitled to do it. I mean, would you want to nationalise the system or something like that?
I have lost all respect for my national gas supplier. It's as simple as that. I am a Manx Gas customer, but just because I'm a Manx Gas customer doesn't mean I respect anything.
But you can't go elsewhere, can you?
I cannot go elsewhere. So what's going to happen with the report? It's personally, I would like it at this stage if Manx Gas were kicked off the island and it was nationalised, because I, as a consumer, do not trust Manx Gas anymore, and actually I trust them less now than I did at the beginning of the year, at the end of last year when I was protesting. And the reason why I actually trust them less now, and the reason why I've got actually less respect for them now, is because they have actually avoided this issue all year round. Last year, when we were protesting on the street, Manx Gas came up with the customer charter, and they were saying that they were going to review all their customer care commitments, etc., etc. Nobody's contacted me to ask me what I think throughout the year. Nobody from Manx Gas.
Would you like a meeting with your hat on, like being the head of this pressure group? Would you want to see a sit down with the head of Manx Gas, for instance, and have this thrashed out? You haven't been offered that opportunity. Have you asked for that opportunity?
Well, you see, the Chief Minister asked the committee to investigate gas provision on the island. Now, as far as I understand this, the report that's overdue, is to do with a lot more than just banning standing charges. It's to do with the supply, commercial supply, distribution, profits, etc., and I guess the business agreement between Manx Gas and the government. All I've ever done, Paul, is said, I believe banning standing charges are unfair.
Right.
You know, that's all I've ever done. So, yes, I could meet Mr. Plentyleaf. I could do, but I would only tell him what I'm telling you. I would just tell him as a customer,
he'll
I'm
be
very
unhappy.
unhappy.
I mean,
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Should he get in touch with you?
Well, he can get in touch with me any time,
okay.
but to be honest with you, he's had a year to get in touch with me. Nobody has gotten in touch with me.
Well, we'll see him later this week, so we'll find out what's going on. But you realise there was a massive change in the top there. You've, in part anyway, had responsibility that there was pressure put on this company. The managing director changed. I believe that quite a tier of management inside that company has changed. And they brought this gentleman in,
But I don't believe that was ever anything to do with me, Paul.
You don't think it did? You think it was just going to happen anyway?
Well, that's what Manx Gas said.
Okay. We'll wait and see. Anything else you want to say now? I mean,
I think we've been through everything, really.
Okay.
I mean,
you're not giving up, though. That's
no. I mean, this is going. I mean, this is going nowhere. But it's not just me. There's three people involved here. There's the government, there's Manx Gas, and there's our little group. Okay, we're the consumers. We are actually the most important people in this dispute. The consumers. We're much more important than the government, and we're actually much more important than Manx Gas. And we are the consumers. So therefore, we're the ones who have to be listened to. So far, nobody's listening to us at all. So, do I find that surprising? I've been the Isle of Man for 21, 22 years. I actually don't find it that surprising that people aren't listening to us. But you know what? We'll slowly but surely we'll instigate change when we can. The committee needs to come forward. The committee needs to finalise the report. The Chief Minister needs to read it, and they need to act fast, because this is a working class issue. You forget your Brexit and forget all this to do with the panorama and tax affairs of Douglas, etc., etc. This issue is working class people. It's grassroots, and it needs to be sorted, and it needs to be sorted now, not soon, now. And that's all I can say now, Paul, truthfully.